Thank you to Birch Living for sponsoring today's video about all of the essential things that you need to keep your baby healthy and happy.
Hello friends, it's Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead, and I'm coming to you from my kitchen. If you're new here, this is where I am usually talking to you about things that are homestead related, things like growing food, preserving food, and using that food to feed a large family. But I mentioned in my last video that my content's going to be a little different for the next couple videos. I am a mother of 8. I'm currently pregnant with my 9th child and due anytime here in the next few weeks. So as I've been doing a lot of nesting and preparations for the baby, I have baby brain, baby on the mind. And as I was getting things together for baby, I thought it would be fun to do a video on what I think are the absolute essentials for taking care of a baby and keeping a baby content as a mother of soon to be 9. The baby industry is huge. It's actually, in 2023, it was a $320 billion industry. And even though less people are having babies, every year here in America, it is projected that in 2024, it's going to be over $400 billion industry. So that means either two things. Either prices are so high that despite people having less children, they're still making higher and higher profits, or it's that we are being marketed more and more unnecessary junk. So even though less people are having babies, they're buying more unnecessary things. And I think it's a little bit of both that are contributing to that increase in the industry. But I've seen it in my own life. I had my first baby almost 18 years ago, and just the amount of things, gadgets, technology that are available or that have become available in the last 5 to 10 years is just amazing. Some of it is really wonderful. Some of it is completely unnecessary. So let's just cut to the chase. I have 8 things that I think are essential. So if you're on a really low budget, and you would just want to buy the things that are absolutely necessary, I'm going to give you my list of things that you should buy to have to take care of baby. All the rest of the stuff might make life a little easier or might make things a little more fun, but are absolutely not necessary. We're going to go ahead and get started here, and I'm going to give you my list of 8 things that I think you should buy for baby. Okay. So no matter what, baby has to eat. So a way to feed baby is essential to keeping baby happy and healthy and content. If you are choosing to exclusively breastfeed, it's going to be free for you. The baby can get it straight from the tap. That's wonderful. But if you are maybe breastfeeding and working outside of the home, or if you're feeding your child formula, you're going to need a bottle to feed baby from. So, did you know that plastic bottles, according to manufacturer recommendations, are supposed to be replaced every 4 to 6 months? There's a few reasons for that. Plastic, especially when it's heated, which is the nature of how you're going to serve baby bottles, you're going to have to warm the milk that is in the bottle. When plastics are heated, they begin to break down, and that plastic begins to leach into the milk or the formula that you're feeding baby. So plastic bottles are an option, but they are a very short term. They're a high cost item with a very short return on investment. You're going to need to replace those at least every baby that you have. I highly recommend glass bottles. I bought this glass bottle almost 18 years ago with my very first baby, and it has been used now for 8, soon to be 9 babies, still in perfect shape. So glass, unlike plastic, does not need to be replaced between every baby. I bought my first set of glass bottles when I was pregnant with my oldest. I want to say maybe I spent like $60 on a full set that gave me like 5 of the larger ones and 5 of the little ones. And if you calculate then how much money I have saved using that same set of glass bottles over so many babies, I mean, it's insane. And how much it would have cost me to purchase new plastic bottles every single time. So you do need to get bottles for baby. I highly recommend glass. I know a lot of people are hesitant to use glass. Their main concern is that when the baby reaches a certain age, will they break and injure baby? I want to show you that these glass bottles are not flimsy, thin glass like adult drinking glasses would be. It's a very thick glass. I have had babies drop these on all different types of flooring. I myself have dropped it on a driveway one time and it did not break. So I've had the same set and they are fine. If you are concerned about breakage, they sell silicone sleeves that go over most glass bottles, and those help baby grip it a little better and also help with breakage. But I have had one bottle break in my entire 18 years of using these glass bottles, and it had more to do with a frozen ingredients inside being put under hot water, and that broke the glass. It did not have anything to do with dropping it. That's a great thing about glass, is that it can be, you can freeze items in it and then thaw it in the fridge and then warm it up all in the same container. When I bought these, they actually fit on my Medela breast pump that I had at the time. So I would pump directly into these glass bottles, freeze the contents, and then I could just bring it out and warm it up later on. So very sustainable option. I will be saving these and maybe one day using them for my grandbabies. So just a beautiful thing to have on hand. You're going to need bottles for your baby. And even if you're planning to exclusively breastfeed and not planning to pump at all, I do recommend having a couple bottles on hand with some nipples that fit your bottles, because you never know. You could end up sick and in the hospital and someone's going to have to feed baby. So having a couple of these on hand is just a really wise idea. And if you get glass ones, they're going to last you forever. So this next item is only going to be essential if you're planning on breastfeeding. If you're not, you can ignore this one. But I do recommend that all moms who are going to be breastfeeding get a breast pump. Now, even if you're planning to exclusively breastfeed and not planning to pump into bottles at all, you're still going to want to pump. Believe me, emergencies will arise where you might be away from baby, and having that pump will help you alleviate the pressure and keep your supply if you're going to be away for extended periods of time. My last baby, actually last year, my baby was 6 months old in the summer, and I had an incident where I was stung by a swarm of bees and ended up in the hospital, and they had to give me certain medicine to help with the reaction I was having, and it wasn't safe for me to nurse my baby for about 48 hours after they administered that medication, and I had to pump in the meantime. And so had I not had a breast pump on hand, I would have been in quite a pickle. So breast pumps do not have to be fancy and expensive. The very first pump I ever had with my first baby was a manual pump. It just was something you use suction like this, and you could pump one side at a time, and it worked great. Now, I will say that electric pumps are much more efficient, both in terms of your time and the amount of milk that they can get from you, but even electric pumps don't have to be expensive. The majority of insurance companies will cover the cost of a breast pump for you. You might want to check with your insurance company, because sometimes they will only cover certain brands and models, so you're going to want to get a list of that before you purchase one. But I have gotten a pump that way before through my insurance company, and it has been great. Best case scenario, you'll get that brand new pump. It'll be in the box and you'll never have to use it, and then you can just pass that along to a friend when you're done having children. But emergencies might arise, and I would highly recommend having a pump. When I first started having children, pumps were these big machines that were in bags that took up a lot of space and were kind of heavy. But there are so many options now. With my last baby, I had to get a new pump, and I got a hands-free pump. It is wonderful. I highly recommend the hands-free style. You can do both sides at once. They tuck right into your shirt, and you can go about your business. They're very modest. If you have a large t-shirt or something on, you can't even tell what you're doing underneath the shirt or that you're pumping milk. You'll just hear a little pumping noise happening. But I'm able to go about working in the kitchen or doing whatever while pumping the milk for my baby, which was a huge blessing, versus with the older style of pump, I was tied down and basically had to sit in one spot and needed the use of my hands to help extract the milk. But definitely look into a breast pump. That is something that I wouldn't skip on if you're planning to breastfeed. Okay, next thing that you're going to have for baby is a car seat. It isn't an option, it is the law. Baby needs to be buckled in, but you do have some options for the type of car seat that you'll use for baby. So for my first two babies, I used an infant bucket seat. These are the type of seat that you'll see moms carrying around. They're really heavy. You have your infant in the little bucket seat and you can carry it around, and then it snaps into a car seat base that you leave in your car. They're super convenient and wonderful. But when I had my third baby, we had to fit 3 car seats in the back seat of a tiny Honda Civic. And so I had to switch. An infant bucket seat was too wide. We switched to thinner car seats that we could fit configured in the back that way. And it was called a convertible car seat. A convertible car seat is a car seat that you can use from birth all the way until they're pretty much ready to move to a booster seat. So if you're someone who is on a budget, you can skip the infant bucket seat altogether, go straight to a convertible seat, and it will save you having to buy a second car seat as your child grows. If you want the convenience of an infant bucket seat, that's great. Just know that baby will eventually outgrow that, either in height or in weight, and you will have to purchase a convertible seat that will get you through the rest of their car seat years until they're ready for a booster. But I will say an infant bucket seat is absolutely not essential, and you can just skip and go to the convertible seat if you're trying to save some money. Baby is definitely going to need a place to sleep, and it's going to need a safe place to sleep, especially when unattended. Now, America is very different. The Western world is very different from the rest of the world in terms of sleeping and sleep practices. We have a lot of rules and recommendations in our society that maybe a lot of other societies don't necessarily agree with or follow. So where you stand on safe sleeping practices, whether it's co-sleeping or bed sharing or having your baby in a completely separate room with a crib away from mom and dad, that regardless of all of that, there are going to be times where your baby is going to be sleeping and you're not going to be present in the room with them, maybe for a nap or something. So baby does need a safe place to sleep that they will be safe when you're not around. And so whether it's a bassinet or a crib or a pack and play or something like that, you're definitely going to want to look into purchasing one of those. The most frugal option, of course, would probably be to just get a crib, because a crib usually has multiple settings. You can set it up really high for a newborn baby, and it can be moved down. If space is an issue, there are mini cribs that can work in that scenario. There are options like bassinets or co-sleepers that you can pull right up to the bed, and they are lovely, but the lifespan of those, the baby's only going to be able to sleep in those until maybe they start rolling around a lot, or once they start pulling up to sitting, it's no longer safe to be in those because they could tumble over the edge, versus with a crib, you can then move the mattress down and still keep them safe. So if you're someone who's going to be bed sharing or co-sleeping, having that side co-sleeper is really convenient for the first 6 months. But if you are on a limited budget, forget the co-sleeper and just do some kind of crib that will last baby through all of their years until it's safe for them to sleep in a space without being contained.
Something important to consider about your baby's sleep space, and the whole family's sleep space for that matter, is the safety and quality of your mattress. We spend over 50% of our lives, even more than that for babies, in our beds. Many mattresses contain harmful off-gassing fiberglass, flame retardants, and other materials that can be harmful to your child's health. But Birch Living provides mattresses that are crafted with responsibly sourced materials like organic cotton, organic wool, and 100% natural latex. These mattresses are free of polyurethane foam and are constructed without fiberglass, which other mattress companies use as flame retardants. Birch actually has their own manufacturing facility, which is entirely free of products containing fiberglass. With a Birch mattress, you get a 100-night sleep trial and 25-year warranty. The best part is they deliver right to your door for free within the U.S. They also offer in-home setup and removal to make your buying experience as convenient as possible. Each mattress comes with 2 free pillows. You know, there's peace of mind as a parent knowing that my children aren't sleeping on flame retardants and instead have a mattress with 100% organic wool, harnessing its natural flame resistance. Wool also helps regulate body temperature and is allergen and mildew resistant. And even if you don't need a mattress for your child, it's really important to prioritize your sleep health as an adult. Thankfully, Birch Living offers mattresses of all sizes. And while a quality mattress can be an investment, with that 25-year warranty, it will definitely pay off over the years. As I mentioned, Birch is offering you an all-exclusive discount for Cyber Week, 27% off your mattress purchase, plus 2 free pillows. Use the promo code BirchPartner27 to take advantage of this special offer and hurry, the offer expires on December 8th. There are many items I've mentioned in this video, whether it's glass bottles or cloth diapers or whatever for your baby that might have a higher upfront cost in order to make them healthier for your baby than traditional items. But that cost pays off in the long run, not only in improved health, but in the longevity of the use of that product. A quality mattress like this is going to last a really long time for you or your child. So make sure you check out Birch Living's deal. And for now, let's go ahead and get back to our list of the top 8 things that I think you need for your baby.
Okay, if baby is eating, guess what? Baby is going to need diapers. And there are several options available for you for diapering your baby. Obviously, the most popular option is using disposable diapers. I've gone through very busy seasons of life where I have had to rely on disposable diapers, and they are a huge blessing, and I'm very grateful for them. If you're someone who's worried about toxins or sustainability or wanting to use a more eco-friendly option, cloth diapering is an option. I cloth diapered my first 5 to maybe 6, I'm trying to remember if I did disposables at all with the 6th. 5 to 6 babies were exclusively cloth diapered. And then once I started to get around my 6th baby, we got a new washing machine that just was not cutting it. And no matter what cycle I tried, I was just struggling to keep my diapers clean. And so I did switch to disposables for baby 7 and baby 8. And we have since gotten a new washer, so we're going back to cloth diapering. But I have had some of the same cloth diapers, for example. This little diaper cover right here I have had since my first child, so it has been used for about 6 babies and still is in perfect condition. So cloth diapers are another thing that might have a high upfront cost, but if you're planning on having a large family and using these cloth diapers for multiple children, they will pay off in the end. The amount of money I have saved over the years in using these cloth diapers as opposed to buying disposables is amazing when you think about how many thousands of dollars I have saved. So I'm going to show you briefly the different cloth diaper options that are available. I'm going to start with the cheapest options all the way to the most expensive. Now, when I first started cloth diapering, I used the basic Gerber rubber pants. I had a couple of these fancy ones with the Velcro, and I felt very fancy having these, but I couldn't afford to buy all of my diapering needs with this kind. So I just used the basic rubber pants, and these are like pre-fold diapers. You fold them up into the shape that you want. I had these neat little snappies that kind of hold the diaper in place, and then you put the diaper cover over it. That's the cheapest option for diapering your babies. Another option that's slightly more expensive, these are called fitted diapers. They're just like the pre-folds, but they're already cut into a diaper shape for you, and they have snaps on them, so you don't have to fuss with diaper pins or the rubber snappies that hold the diapers in place. So you would use the fitted diaper with a diaper cover over top. It's slightly more expensive than the pre-fold, but it's a much more convenient option. With all of these diapers, the more you pay, you're just paying for convenience, basically. The next more expensive option are pocket diapers. They're just like that diaper cover that I showed you, but there's a pocket inside of it here that you can stuff with liners. And so you can just change the liners out and reuse the covers on all of these options. Or if there's a mess in there, you'll get rid of all of this and even use a new cover. But the pockets are nice because you can stuff with whatever absorbency you want. Overnight, you could put a couple of these liners in. If it's just during the day, you might need one liner. So there's that option. And then the final option for cloth diapering is a all-in-one. This is an all-in-one newborn diaper. You can see that it has the diaper cover and the liner all sewn in. It's essentially as convenient as a disposable diaper, but in a cloth diapering package here. And you're obviously paying for that convenience. So there are newborn size diapers that you're going to need to get for a brand new baby. And then as they get a little older, you can step up to one size fits all diapers that will kind of grow with the baby. A lot of the more expensive fancy diapers have snaps on the front, so you can size them down and make them smaller for your little babies and extend the life of the diaper. But like I said, I have diapers here that I have used for 6 or more babies, and they are still working perfectly. So if that is something that you're interested in, it doesn't have to be expensive. You can do it the cheapest way. Just get some diaper covers and some pre-folds, and you're all set. If you wanted to maybe add some cloth diapers to your registry, you can have a couple of these nice all-in-one ones to use maybe when you're outside of the house. These are a lot more convenient. You don't have to fumble with pins when you're trying to do a quick change out in public, but you don't need a lot of them. How many diapers you're going to need is entirely dependent on how often you do laundry. If you're someone that's going to do laundry every day, which I don't know how that's manageable with a newborn baby, but if you're going to do loads of diapers every day, just think about with a newborn, you're probably going to need to change the diaper every hour while they're awake, and then maybe a few times, when they wake to feed at night. If you're going to do it laundry maybe every other day, then you're obviously going to double the amount. So I would probably, if you're going to do laundry every other day, have at least 16 to maybe 20 diapering options. So that would be 16 to 20 pre-folds or fitteds or liner options available for you to change out over the course of 2 days. And then you would need less of the actual diaper covers because these can be reused. If the baby just wets the diaper, you can remove the actual pre-fold and reuse this part. So you could probably get away with half of these, maybe have 8 to 10 options for covers. And if you want to do laundry even less, like every 3 days, then obviously you're going to need a larger stash. But diapers are going to be essential, and that's just something you're going to want to put on your registry or budget for. Baby is going to need clothes, and clothes are probably the most fun thing for other people to purchase for you. If you're having a baby shower, even if they're not on your registry, people are going to want to buy you clothes because they're so cute and adorable. And even as a mom, sometimes we are just tempted to go out and buy all of these adorable clothes for baby. But if you're on a budget, I'm telling you, you do not need a lot of clothes. All of my baby's clothes fit into one tiny drawer. That's it. I do not keep a lot. I will say when I had my first baby, I went overboard and I bought so much stuff. And I have learned over the years, now that I'm having my 9th, that the majority of that stuff is a waste of money. It might get worn once or a couple times and then it's passed on. So here are the essential things, especially for a newborn, that I keep on hand. My absolute favorite clothing item for newborn babies is a gown. You want a gown that opens at the bottom. Believe me, when you're waking up like 3 times a night to change a diaper and fumbling around in the dark, you don't want to worry about zippers and buttons and things like that. So these gowns that remain open at the bottom allow you to slip them up to baby's waist and change their diaper and just pull them back down. The other thing I love about these gowns is that most of them have the little mitts right on the end, And I do use these. If you're not aware, babies born with very sharp nails, and they're sometimes very hard to cut. And even after you cut them, it makes them even sharper. And they're known to claw at their face, and they can cut their cute little faces. And so sometimes it's best to keep their little hands covered with these mitts. Now they sell mitts that are sold separately from clothing that you can try to slip on baby's hands, but sometimes those do not want to stay on, and they are kind of a hassle to keep on. So I love clothes that have these on. And I would say just having maybe 3 or so of these little gowns on hand, just in case you have a blowout or something during the day, that's all you're going to need. You don't need a lot of them. And my babies literally live in these. If we are home, they are in a gown. Another thing that is really helpful are half shirts, especially if you're cloth diapering a baby. You don't need to fumble with pants and things. You can just put them in a half shirt. Once again, a lot of these newborn clothes come with the mitts on them, and I highly recommend that. That's super helpful. But just having these little half shirts with the diaper, and then because baby's going to be swaddled up in a blanket anyways, they don't need to have pants on to stay warm. They're going to be warm because they're going to be held and in a blanket. So this is just a great, convenient way to keep baby clothed and make diaper changes easier. If you're leaving the house, obviously get something with pants attached to it. But once again, love these ones that have the mitts on them for those first few weeks. They are just great. Other than that, I might keep 1 or 2 really nice outfits for things like church or family gatherings where you want to dress baby up and make them really cute. But other than that, I would say, maybe 3 gowns, a couple of onesies, a couple of those half shirts, maybe 2 or 3 of these sleepers with the feet, maybe 1 or 2 nice outfits. That's all you need. And yeah. One thing that I do if I'm having a winter baby, which I am right now, is I do have one of these little snowsuits on hand. Now, I don't put this on baby every time we leave the house because it is not safe to have this on the baby in a car seat. This is too much fluff to be safely in a car seat with the straps tight. But if we're hanging out outside and I'm watching the older children play or something like that, and I want to bundle baby up, having one of these little snowsuits. And I've had the same snowsuit since baby number 2, who was born in January, and it's still going strong. So something like that is really helpful. But other than that, a couple of hats to put on baby when they leave, some little booty socks are helpful, although socks don't want to stay on babies. So if you're worried about baby's feet, just put them in footed sleepers, and that will keep them warm. Okay, baby, one thing that I do think you're going to need for baby, unless you want to carry them in your arms all the time everywhere you go, or keep them in that infant bucket car seat all the time, which that can be a problem. If you keep baby in that infant bucket seat for too long, it can start to affect the shaping of their head. You don't want to leave them in there for extended periods of time. It isn't necessarily healthy for them to be napping in that all day. So it is helpful, unless you want to hold baby all day long, to have something to put baby in when you're out and about and moving around. There are 2 options. You can either have a baby carrier or a stroller. I've used both throughout all of my baby years in different contexts and places. My absolute favorite is a baby carrier. I will always choose it over a stroller any time of the day because baby is always happier, at least in my experience, when they are up against mom. Now, I know there are some people that say their babies hate being worn, and I will say in most of those cases, when I press those moms on when they started wearing their baby in a carrier, they started too late, and baby didn't like it because they didn't get conditioned to like it when they were little. So I start putting baby in a carrier literally after birth. I start out with a stretchy, soft carrier that you can wrap around, and that is what we use in the beginning until baby has really good head support, and then we switch on to different types of carriers that can either be worn on the front or on the back. My favorite style of a baby carrier, and I'm going to butcher this, I've got to look at it to pronounce it, is an onbuhimo. It's a traditional Japanese style of a carrier, and what I love about it is just the fact that it doesn't have a waistband. And when you're dealing with a postpartum belly, it doesn't always feel comfortable to have this waistband cutting your soft belly right in the middle of your clothes. It just doesn't feel good. So I love how an onbuhimo style carrier feels because there isn't that waistband. It just feels lovely. If waistband isn't an issue for you, there are lots of other options out there for a carrier. But in the years that I didn't use an infant bucket seat, if you're someone who's not going to be doing that and you're going to be going grocery shopping with baby or something like that, and you're not going to have the option to take the infant seat out of the car and put it in the shopping cart or something like that, you're going to want a baby carrier to go out and run your errands and be out and about. And that worked for me. Like I told you, I didn't have an infant bucket seat for 6 of my children. And so when I would pull them out of the car seat, they would go into a carrier, and that's how I would walk around the store. Carriers are also lovely for keeping people away from baby. You know, there are always those people when you're out in public who want to touch your baby with their germy hands, and you're like, ew, don't touch my baby, I don't know you. And people are much less likely to do that when baby is pressed up against you because they have to actually invade your personal space to get to baby. Doesn't mean it stops everybody. I've had people try to reach in and touch baby while they're on me, and I've had to push them away, but it will deter some people. A baby carrier isn't just for out and about. It's also extremely helpful for getting work done around the house. If you're having a day where baby just wants to be held all day long, but you have to get things done, the only way I'm able to do that is put them in a carrier and have my hands free, and I can move freely about the house doing my chores and errands. If you're someone that doesn't like wearing a baby carrier, maybe you have back issues, maybe that's not comfortable for you, or maybe baby just really dislikes it, you're going to want a stroller, and there are lots of different options. I highly suggest, if you're going to be using a stroller a lot, getting a stroller car seat combo that work together. That's going to save you having to take baby out of the car seat to put into the stroller. It's much more convenient when you can just take the bucket seat out and fit it in into your stroller. But even that sometimes isn't an option if you have other children and you want to have like a double stroller or something like that. You just got to look at what's available out there, and there are a wide range of options. But that's definitely something that I would prioritize putting on your registry or getting for yourself if you're not going to go the baby carrier route. There are going to be certain tasks that you're going to do throughout the day in your house that you can't hold baby for. Wearing baby in a baby carrier is always a wonderful idea when you can. Baby loves to be close to you, but sometimes whether it's taking a shower or cooking in front of a hot stove where grease is popping, you're not going to want to have baby in a carrier in front of you. You need to have a safe place to set the baby in to go about your tasks. Infant bucket seats, car seats are wonderful for that, but I've mentioned before that it isn't wise to keep your baby in that infant car seat all day long. It's going to start affecting the shaping of your baby's head if they're stuck in the same position in that car seat day after day, all day long. So you want baby to have time out of that car seat, or maybe you're someone who is using a convertible seat and the infant car seat isn't an option. So I highly recommend something that I have found essential throughout all of my baby raising years is a Bouncy seat. Now, it's crazy because when I first bought a Bouncy seat almost 18 years ago for my oldest, there were very few options on the market. I mean, I got a cheap Fisher Price Bouncy seat. It was in these hideous bright colors, but it got the job done. It didn't have bells and whistles. It had one little toy bar that went across it, and it maybe vibrated, but we never really used that. And it probably cost me $40 at the time when I bought it. And that thing lasted until I had baby number 7. Finally, the fabric in the back wore through and there was a hole and it was no longer supportive and we had to get rid of it. So that $40 seat lasted me through 7 babies. And then that was the first time I had to look at the Bouncy seats that were available to replace it. And I was like, oh my goodness, what what are they doing with these Bouncy seats now? Now they have like $200 options and $300 options for Bouncy seats. And I'm just here to say it doesn't have to be that fancy. Just get the cheap one. When I replaced that Fisher Price one, I found one on Amazon that was maybe $40 as well, and it serves the purpose. It just needs to be a safe seat where you can buckle baby in. And the great thing about a Bouncy seat, as opposed to maybe using a rocker or some kind of swing or something like that to entertain baby while you get things done, is that the Bouncy seat you can easily pick up and move throughout the house. You can take it into the bathroom with you while you get a shower in. You can peek out at baby and make sure they're okay. You can move it into the kitchen with you while you're cooking and have them sitting there where you can keep an eye on them. Move it anywhere throughout the house, whereas a lot of the larger baby containment devices that are really fancy, like swings and things, first of all, it's not guaranteed that your baby's going to like them, but also a lot of those things are so big that it's not easy to move them around, especially in small places like a bathroom. So if you're choosing, should I get a Bouncy seat? Should I get a swing? Should I get these fancy contraptions that have all the bells and whistles and can hook up to my phone and do all of that? Go to the most basic Bouncy seat there is. It's literally just a spot to put baby down when you're not able to hold them, and it will get the job done. It worked for me for 7 babies, and then with my 8th, I got a new one, and it's what I'm going to use with this baby. We don't have fancy swings. We don't have any of that. Some of these things that are on the market are super expensive, and some of them even hook up to wireless on your phone. They have all these bells and whistles. I'm telling you, if you're on a budget, don't feel like you need those things to keep your baby content. I never have, and we've been just fine. So that list of 8 things are just the things that I think are absolutely essential. So if you're putting together a baby registry list for the first time, those are the things I would definitely prioritize. All of the other stuff, while it may be nice to have it, the cute little toys and trinkets and the baby wipe warmers and the bottle warmers and all of that, I promise you, you do not need those. You can successfully raise a baby and keep a baby happy and content without all of those things. Even things like toys, to be honest. We have very few baby toys in our house at this point, and maybe that's because we have lots of older children that are entertaining baby and baby's looking around at all the time. But we've made toys before because they use a lot of these things, like these fancy toys that the baby will lay underneath, and they'll have toys that kind of hang that they look at. They use it for such a short period of time that to purchase something like that, it just kind of feels like a waste if you have the option to maybe make it yourself. And so we've used things just like PVC pipes and dangling toys that has worked really well. So you don't need to go overboard. A newborn baby doesn't need a nursery full of toys. They're literally content sitting in the room, looking at your face, staring at the ceiling fan moving. That is stimulating their brain. They don't need all of these loud, battery-operated, noisy toys to have proper brain development. Babies survived for millennia just looking at mom and the other family members and soaking in the world around them and maybe having a fun little rattle to shake. And that's it. So don't feel bad if you're on a strict budget and you can't afford all of these gadgets. I promise you they are not necessary. Your baby can be perfectly content with the things that I mentioned in this list. Another thing that I want to remind you is that the baby industry, we mentioned that it's a huge industry. They're trying to sell you things you don't need. It's about making money. But also a lot of the things that are specifically marketed to babies are extremely toxic, and they are a marketing gimmick. Your baby does not need special detergent for their clothing. In fact, many of the baby-specific detergents are highly fragranced and not good for your baby. Baby can use your regular free and clear detergent that everybody else's clothes are washed in. You don't need anything special. Same things with like lotions and soaps. There are a lot of things out there that are marketed specifically to baby that are very heavily fragranced. They have that baby powder smell that we associate with a clean baby. Those fragrances are not necessarily good for your baby and not necessary at all. just a gentle cleanser, whatever non-toxic soap you use for your older children, you can use the same thing for your little babies. So just remember that there's an entire industry out there that is trying to sell you things and to get you to buy things, and those things aren't necessarily healthy or even good for your baby. So back to basics. Get back to basics, the most simple things that you can think of. Baby will be just fine, and you'll be better off because you'll have less clutter in your life during this postpartum crazy season where you're trying to manage learning a routine and schedule. You don't need to be tripping over a bunch of baby junk that you don't need anyways. So hopefully this list was helpful for you if you're trying to put together a registry, or maybe you're thinking about what you want to buy for someone in your life that's having a baby. If you want to make it something that you know they're going to use and love, that isn't just going to end up at Goodwill or in a landfill shortly after they have baby, stick to some of the tried and true basics that are just essential and necessary. All right, friends, that is it for this week. I'll be back next week. Next week's video will probably be a little more homestead related. And then after that, it's probably baby time. So we'll see where we go from there. We've got a birth story to look forward to, hopefully, Lord willing, in the near future. So thank you for being here. If you are an expecting mom or a mom of many or even a mom of not many, leave your favorite tips and tricks for preparing for baby. What supplies did you think were essential? Because every mom's experience is different. Just because I say something isn't essential doesn't mean somebody else doesn't find value in it, or vice versa. So yeah, leave your tips and tricks in the comments so that we can all glean from your wisdom. And all right, friends, I look forward to seeing you again next week. Hope you're having a wonderful week. We'll see you. Bye.